Hi guys, welcome to another Ascension reading. These messages are for those of you who are interested in the Ascension movement. If you consider yourself to be part of the mission-based community, whether you're an so I was going to say Starseed, Lightworker, all of that. Although I do want to point out that shortly, just before I pressed play, I heard the guide say this one is for the Earth Angels, okay? So, but hey, whoever you are, come on in, listen and see how it goes, whether or not you resonate with that term or not. And to be honest, I wouldn't get you to really overly indulge in these labels, because a lot of the times the guides are giving us these terms, but they also understand that we are actively working within 3D frameworks of ideology, which are completely skewed in many ways. So they'll give us these terms purposefully, so just go with it and do your best. So this one's for the Earth Angels of you out there, and whatever that means and however it's distinguished, everybody has a different idea. All right, if you'd like to work more personally with me, you know exactly where to find me on my Etsy page. And of course, check out these other videos. It's my pleasure to work with you and for you. All right, so let's jump in. So let's see what messages we have for the Earth Angel. One of the biggest things that I'm getting right now is the importance of having more water in your diet. Now, they're saying they're not necessarily talking about seafood, although that can also be a way to yeah, it's almost like I wanted to stop with that one, because you would think to say a way to bring the sea into you, but it's like let's stop with that idea, because we also have to understand when we're consuming these seafoods, and they're not saying don't eat seafood. If you're in that mindset to just come and just be led somewhere, please, this isn't the channel for you, because you're required to have your own agency and your sovereignty and your discernment, capital D, right? And so they're not saying, hey, don't eat seafood, don't do this, because that's just ridiculous. But what they are saying is to understand that they're asking you to bring more water as an element, as, you know, literally drinking it into your energy field, into your body, into your mind, into your chest, calling in 2 minutes, 22 seconds, energy of water. So a lot of water kind of work going on here. But don't just say, oh, I had some fish last night. Okay, but if you're relying on that physical thing, like, oh, for example, seafood, then you're also bringing in a lot of the mercury, and you're bringing in a lot of the arguments in those areas, and a lot of the bloodbaths that are going on with the overfishing. So that's also another call for us to remember to always bless our foods. Now, when I said the word bless, it's going to hit some of you in different ways because of your programming. We all have religious programming in our energetic field from lifetimes. So again, please take words and discourse with a grain of salt. What I mean to say is set the intention to clear whatever it is that you're consuming. Now, we're clearing the actual thing, getting these energies off, but also what you're doing is you're clearing your mindset, because remember, it is your mindset that determines the reality that you are living in your world. Okay, 3 minutes 27 seconds. So that's my birthday. I don't know, I always see it, so I don't know why that one just popped out, but yeah, March 27, whoop whoop. No need for the year, guys. Come on, let's stay with the messages here. But anyway, so now let's talk about that. One of the reasons why they said, hey, look at this distinction that we just made. Bring in water, but understand what we mean. It's nuance. The reason why they said that is because we're going to be moving into times right now. We're already there, but we're all moving in our own respective time into times where nuance is important. Oh yeah, a lot of us doing mirror work out here, or, you know, I just said mirror work, boom, immediately. Everybody watching has heard of it. Most of you, I'm sure all of you, have heard of mirror work. Some of you have heard of it. You don't have any idea what it is according to somebody else, because you haven't really followed it up. You haven't tried it. You haven't done whatever. And some of you have done it. And even amongst you lot who have done it, you each have a different idea of it. You see how multifaceted one term is? Mirror work. What does it mean? If I gave you pieces of paper now and you all wrote a definition, and I was the only one who saw all of them, it would be so different. So the nuance that we're asking you to do now is to start to step back into yourself, that's a movement back towards you, because what we've all been doing is we've been outsourcing, it's so funny, outsourcing our identity, our ideas of ourselves. That's basically referring to taking your authority that is your own and making yourself believe you still have that authority and that you're still exercising it, but what you're actually doing is transferring that authority to other people. And it happens very easily in our marketing. We talk about this. And manufactured consent, we talk about this. It's easier to boil a frog to death by inviting it into a nice little bath and then raising the temperature a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little, boom, that's it, right? It's easier to do that than to say, hey buddy, why don't you jump right in this hot pot? He's like, no, I'm cool on that. He's not going to do that. So that's an example very briefly about manufactured consent. We dupe ourselves very easily. We see that when it comes to cheating. Oh, he's just a coworker. We're just going out on smoke breaks. Or we're just going for a coffee break. Because if you were given the choice to just jump into the hotel with this coworker, you would say no. He would say no, because you guys need a little bit more waxing, greasing of the wheels to be okay with yourselves about what on some deep level you're going to end up doing anyway. So we'll just be friends. Oh, we're just going out to the company party. Oh, don't worry, she's just a friend, blah blah blah. Boom, there it is. It's easier to boil the frog. It's easier to get to the bed when we turn the fire up a little bit at a time, when we go out for coffee, smokes, blah, 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 blah. So this is about cognitive dissonance as well. So basically as I'm looking and reflecting on the message that's coming through, this is about understanding the nuance in energy, the nuance in the frequencies, the nuance in the ideas that we're seeing. Activism, good. Hold on. We know right now, just because you're an activist does not mean you're moving in the energy of love and light and peace. And that is just as bad as, if you're not doing just as bad as whatever else you're fighting against. You cannot fight fire with fire. Doesn't work that way. And that's takes nuance and reflection and understanding. So if, for example, using that whole activism thing, if you're like someone who's, SJW, social justice warrior, whatever that term means, and again, I just felt all of you like splink, fracture off into different ideas based on your own political leanings and age and where you've been consuming your stuff, so don't get lost in the discourse. But let's say, for example, you're somebody who likes to champion others. I guarantee you that blanket statement, somebody who likes to champion for others, is not as solidified a block as you think. You may think you are doing that, but when we look into your shadows, when we get into you individually, which is the only way things are actually ever assessed anyway, even though you don't know that, we're seeing that this is actually about you taking control in a world where you felt that you didn't have any control. And it's not even really about other people that you think. It's really because in your childhood, you hated your father and you felt like you didn't have enough power, and everything you do today, whether you realize it or not, is you really just having this long range, angry, violent, aggressive, not listening conversation with somebody, your father, who is not in the room and hasn't been in the room for 30 years, for example. Do you understand? And this is what a lot of people do. They have a bad relationship with their ex and now they're on a war path. This is why on TV, remember back in the day, anybody, all those TV shows like what is it? Bayside, what were they? Anyway, you guys know, where it's like, or Boy Meets World, it's like, the teacher's so mean and this and that. I know, let's get her to fall in love with so-and-so, the other teacher, and then she'll go easy on us and give us, and treat us nicely, right? It's that kind of idea. So this is all about, going back to the topic, the nuance. Who are you? What are your ideals? Who are you being? Why are you doing it? This is self-reflection mode. But the nuance of it is not saying I'm here to just help people because because in there you're identifying a group that's, I'm hearing homelessness for somebody, some of you guys here, somebody here, so maybe that's your championing. But you've identified a group that you have identified in your mind, and you will use 3D evidence as being in need of help. So you're identifying weakness, and then you are identifying enemies who are placing those people there, and then you are identifying a solution. And of course, the enemies are not taking the solution that you think it should be, and you've got things to show for that, evidence. And then you're identifying the person or the group that should be the one to carry that solution, to educate those people who are enemies so that they can help the people that you deemed weak. You see how deep you're going, and you're just fragmenting. What if I told you that yes, thank you, everything that we can do to assist others is useful, but if you are out there doing A, B, C, D, we didn't even get into other things like how you're doing it, what are your words on social media, what are the newspaper or op-eds that you're taking out, where are you picketing, what, we're just using this example of what is it, activists and advocates, but there are other examples throughout society, right? But this is just a quick one, an easy one. But we didn't even go into all of that. But what if I told you that if you were to take all that energy, even if take like a month, and own it for yourself, 11 minutes, 11 seconds, what is your weakness? Because you're just projecting it out. What is the enemy within? Because you're just projecting it out. Who's the savior within? You're just projecting it out. What's the solution? You're just projecting it out. And I guarantee you, your solution is not going to be the best solution if it's not founded upon your healed sense of self. Because when you're in a more heart-based, healed sense of self, you're coming from more of a peaceful place, because what? You've looked at yourself, you've looked yourself in the eye, and you could sit and say how you can identify with not only the person you think needs help, but also the person who is oppressing them, also the person that is supposed to be saving, also the solutions that are bad, also the solutions that you think right now are good, also the modalities that you're using to get there. It's you. So if you're sitting here still not being able to see the relationship, come hit me up. We'll get to the bottom of that and very quickly. But what you're doing is that you are actively participating in maintaining these shadows. And that's moving on unhealed energies. Now, please understand, just because we're saying take a step back and do the self-reflective work doesn't mean that you're giving up on anybody or conceding or whatever you want to say. No, it means you're looking at really what is driving you underneath. If you're being driven by your pain and your fears, you are going to project pain and fears out, and you will find solutions and see wrong solutions and right solutions and modalities and this and that will just reflect that. And energetically, we sniff it out the minute you come in. We're like, oh, you did donate here, but let's look at the energy of that money that you donated to. Let's see where it's going to end up because of the energy and the frequency that you have put it out there with. Now, if you're coming from more of a healed perspective and you're open to seeing yourself, you're open ideologically to being flexible, to being shown by the universe what's happening and the complexities and the multifaceted energies of where you really find yourself, you are in a much better position to be in a helpful way to others, because you cannot reflect love to others if you are not moving from a state of love. I don't know if I made that as clear as possible with my little fingers and hands, but the point is, are you aware of how you're being? So today's message is to take some time, take stock. They're not saying put everything down. They're saying, no, take stock. This is your personal checks and balances, the number one way of ethics, if you want to say it that way. I have a dream to do something. What is driving that dream? Is it my fear and pain and resistance to looking at who I am and what beliefs I'm carrying? Or is it that I understand that I've been through hard things and I'm doing my best to work through it? I'm literally looking myself in the face, and I can see the sides of all the stories without going into gotta kill somebody because they are doing it the wrong way or blah, blah, blah. Where's your energy? The frequency is going to be what produces the outcome that you think you are saying you want. Sometimes you think you want to help group A, but all you want to do is beat up group B. And this is calling for self-honesty, okay? Mwah.